Hey everyone, it's been a while. Somebody pointed out, Bad Chisel pointed out that it's been a month since my last video, and I apologise. I know he said that he was just stirring, but I didn't expect to have another month gap since that video. I thought maybe a couple of weeks. But as I mentioned in that video, I did hurt my knee at work and that has been really mentally draining. I haven't really been inspired to create the demo tracks for the Tone Bogans stuff, but I am about 60% of the way through a block of about 10 episodes, maybe 11. So instead of doing each individual one, I'm doing them all as a block, and then they can be scheduled and uploaded. They'll be all there ready to go, and they will roll out weekly from there, I think. I'm not sure. But I am slowly chipping away at Tone Bogans. What I wanted to do today, and I apologise for the weird angle, there's a reason for it, and that is so that you could see this pedal board in the shot. I'm sure you can't see it that well, but with the exception of this one, they're not connected to the board, so I can hold them up for you. This is a board that I'm going to put together. I've had some various combinations for this one. If you've been reading the descriptions in some of the ambient stuff, sorry, excuse me, it's about 400% humidity in Australia today. There's a storm bearing right down on us. I'm quickly going to film this before we lose power, because that's just thunderstorms here. But I digress. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, so if you read the descriptions in some of my, like the last maybe 10 or so ambient or drone tracks, I think I had like a variation of this board that included the Joyo Vision and the Joyo Aquarius. That dude that lives down the road with his fucking shit motorbike, like, I would love to ram it where the sun don't fucking shine, mate, because he does that about 20 times a day. So excuse that, and also excuse the cicadas. Can't do anything about them either. They know it's going to rain, so they are going ballistic. But let's get started, because I could talk about cicadas for a little while longer. If you've watched my feature film on my channel, there is a lot of dialogue about cicadas. So if you want to know about cicadas, you could watch that. Or I can come back later and tell you more. Like, they can make noise up to 150 decibels, which is really fucking loud. It's like a jet plane. So this that is connected is the Ditto Looper. It's just obviously the small version. It's probably the best in its class in terms of compact loopers. The only thing I don't like about this is when you record it, it does seem to drop the volume. Despite where you think you might have the volume, it always seems to drop a couple of decibels off the volume that you think you're recording at. So best in class because it stays in time, but that's the thing I don't like about it. So that is running at the very, very front of my chain before anything else. Then it's going to go into, these are all dusty, the slow engine, which you guys, I did episode 16, I think it was one of the last pedals for the original Tone Bogans guitar series with the ambience and the guitars and the wow and the excellent dialogue that I did. And the reason that this is the first one in the chain is because that's just recommended for these volume envelopey things. If you put a compressor in front of it, it does sometimes not trigger the slow engine the way it should. If you put a compressor behind it, sometimes it does the same thing and you don't get that fade in. But it's a matter of, I guess, putting it in the most appropriate position, which is front of chain. It's not perfect when you've got other dynamic stuff, but it kind of works the majority of the time for the more slow engine. If you're really rich, like I pretend I am sometimes, this one's even more dusty, but this is the actual best envelope volume swelly anything apart from a volume pedal that I've used. So get that instead, but this I'm using because it's compact and it fits there. So that's in first position. Then I have, this is a cool little boost that I have also put in Tone Bogans Series 1 in the whole episode that was all the dynamics. So I did this and a compressor and noise gate? Yes, a noise gate. This is like a cleany kind of dirty boost, so it's not really clean but it's not really dirty. And when do I use that? Oh, sometimes I have to use that, like I'm questioning my decision to actually put this on the board. No, sometimes I use this depending on guitars that I'm using, and sometimes when you use the slow engine you actually lose a little bit of volume as well. So that is the second one in. And then after we've boosted it, we're going to just compress it a little bit. I don't know why it's on maximum because I don't, oh no, I demoed it for someone. So normally I would just have that on the smallest amount of compression because I just want to even it and get rid of the really loud parts and just bring up the quiet parts a little bit. So I normally have it in about 10 o'clock position, and then weirdly I'm boosting and then the volume on this is all the way down, but you know, works for me. So then that is actually going to connect. I had to take this one off because it doesn't have rubber or Velcro and it kept sliding off. So from the comp, it's going to go to our favourite, everyone's favourite, I was trying to say 3 words at once, the Golden Horse. Can you get a better clone for the price point? No, you cannot. Does it sound like a clone? No. Does it sound like a really good transparent overdrive? Also no, because it does have a little bit of a mid-humpy thing that people like to talk about. Is it a good pedal? Yes. Should you buy one? 100%. I think they're made by Muse Lady now. I don't know what that's meant to be, but I haven't seen any Mosky ones for a long time. So that is there after the compressor, because in other positions I think it just really affected, from the top of my head, the way that all the other things interacted, and I didn't like that, so I've put it there so that it's actually like my pre-gain or my pre-distortion, pre-overdrive, overdrive. I only have the one overdrive on this mock-up and I'm not sure if it's going to stay like that. But I have the Fuzz, I have the Fog Fuzz, which is actually the bass pedal from Bass Bogans, and the reason for that is because if I use the octave, I want to use the Fuzz. So I'll be octave down with a fat fuzz, making a whole bunch of noise, and I actually think that this is better than a lot of the guitar fuzzes. Not so great for solos because you are dropping a little bit off the top end there. But in terms of how I want to use it, I don't know what this hand's doing. In terms of how I want to use this pedal, I've picked this because it does vibe better with the lower notes. And that's why I did it. That's going into the Joyo Vision. Now this is one that I really want to make a longer video for. It's very complex for what it is. So it's dual modulation. I haven't used it for a while, so I'm like, what is it? It's actually stereo input as well, which is really cool. So I could, if I wanted to, have a cleaner signal and a dirtier signal and then split them out, and then when they get into the computer I could actually have like all this fancy stuff happening that I'm not going to do, but anyway, you got stereo in. Whatever. Has tap if you hold these down, and it has this thing where you can either have mode A go into mode B, or you can have them running parallel and then go into the output blended but separate, if that makes sense. But if you do A into B, which is what it's set on, the tap tempo is gonna need to be on both, unless you want it out of time. You might want this to react out of time to that. I don't know why you would want to do that. but it is experimental, so you might be experimenting with that. You might be a little bit braver than I am in terms of synchronization. I like to have all my stuff on the beat because then if people want to put it in a song, they're not running around trying to guess what it is. But this has like a billion options, or actually just 8 on each side, or 9 on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9 on each side. So you got, I don't know, who's good at maths? Like 200 and something options, or maybe more because it's 9. Oh fuck, we might have like potentially a million collaborations, combinations. Collaborate, dickhead. Somebody can't talk when it's hot. That is going to go into either this or this. I'm not sure how I'm going to run it yet. You might be like, don't put the... So this is the ocean. This is fucking lit. So this is just the Oceanic Reverb, and if you download it, you can swap between... So if you download the patch for it, you can swap between 3 different... Well, last I checked, 3 different algorithms, but I ended up just installing the original factory one again because I thought that was the best. But this is really cool because even at max, you get like this really nice trail, but you still preserve some of the clean signal. So for that reason, I might be able to run it before this delay and just smear out the delay a little bit more. Highly recommend that, actually, that Oceanic, which I've never done a video on, and I might in the future. Not I might, actually, I will. I will do a video on that. I'll forget that I've said it in this video, but I will eventually get around to doing a video for that. And this is the Aquarius, and you may know of it. It's been out for a little while now. This also has a looper function in it, so essentially I am running 2 loopers on here. Obviously this is going to be post all of this configuration, so that will make for some interesting effects. Also messy. This is quite a hard looper to sync. It is not as tidy as the TC electronic little Ditto. I've had a really hard time trying to get that to stay in sync, and it could be my playing, and it could be the fact that I'm just hitting it not exactly on time, but I find this a difficult looper to use, which annoys me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this also has 9 patches on it. I didn't want to say 8 and be wrong again. But the 9th one is the looper. But you can still use somehow, I can't remember how, but you can either go into looper mode, or I think you press this button here, and then you activate the looper within the delay setting that you're already in, I think. But I really like the delays. I wish it did a lot more wet signal, and the tap function sometimes doesn't work as well as you'd like. It does tend to drift out, I think, a little bit. But, like, I think they've done a good job on this. Let's just discuss this for slightly longer. I think they've actually done a really good job on this, and if you could update the firmware on it, or maybe because this was the, like, I got this when it first came out, they might have adjusted some stuff in subsequent ones. But I really like how Joyo is going with this series apart from the silver knobs. I think they're a bit weird. So, what are we up to? Oh yeah, I'm not sure whether the Vision is going to run into either of those. It's going to run into one of them. It's going to run into some pedal. And then I have what I used to say is my secret sauce. But now I'm revealing because they're totally discontinued, and good luck buying one. I've never seen one again since it got discontinued. So this is basically the Line 6 Echo Park, is it? In the Behringer Echo machine. So if you can get either of those, I highly recommend them just for the fact that they're super dark. And I really like that the repeats on this are super smeary. I like that it's stereo. I used it to score my film that I have online with other cicadas. It's basically a film about cicadas, and then I said it's a horror film, but it's really about educating people on how rad cicadas are. So this is obviously my last delay because I like it better, and also because it's stereo. That one's mono, so I sometimes like to have the stereo output just because this has a really cool ping pong on it. It's not the best ping pong, but this is a really decent emulation of the Line 6 pedal, so if somebody has one of these lying around and you can just maybe convince them to swap it for a beer, do it. They don't know what they have, especially if they're not using it. If they're not using it, they don't know how good it is. And then we've got the reverb machine at the end, and again, it's at the end because it's stereo. I don't love this like I love the echo machine. Like, I am gonna take this off my board eventually, but this is probably the best one for this board at this time. I don't want to put one of my good reverbs on there, my better reverbs on there, because I do like a couple of the settings, mostly cave space. The tile setting's good, but like the spring and the plate in the room, even the chamber in the hall, I don't really use them that much. The ducking one is really, really cool actually if you want like a really bizarre effect, but it doesn't work so well with all of this stuff in front of it. It works better if it's closer to a not fucked signal. So if you're playing rock and stuff like that and you've got like distortion, delay, and the reverb, works a lot better than if you have all the rest of the pedals in front of it as well. But it does have a really, really nice setting called Cave, and it pretty much just stays on that. Looks like it's on space at the moment. It's like this really weird dial that it looks like it's not sitting on the setting that you want, but when you turn it around, this little LED flashes to tell you that you've popped into the next thing. So you can't always just turn it to where you think it's going to be. You have to like count how many effect patches around it is, whichever way you go, and then you're like, cool, I must be in that setting. So that's a strange little knob there. So that's the pedal board that I'm going to put together. Obviously, I'm not going to do it on camera and you won't hear what it sounds like just yet. I can't remember if I bought patch cables for this one or a different pedal board because I'm building like a really high-end one as well with like my big sky and that kind of quality. What delay? Oh yeah, I've got the Boss DD200 delay and the MD200 Boss modulation, so yeah, like a really high-end studio board as well. So I think I might have bought the patch cables for that rather than this one. But this one I will update you when it's done. We'll run through and we'll give a sound demo. And then what I might do, I'm not sure if I can live stream with the gear that I've got, but I might try a live stream if we all want to jump on at whatever time. If it's early in my morning, I'm going to be wearing my pajamas though, just so you know. And they are not sexy and they are not pretty. They're probably going to be pink flannelette. Oh my god, I can't talk today. It's so freaking hot. So we can do a live stream if I can actually do the live stream, which I highly doubt that I can, but I'll look into that. Otherwise, it will just be me going, here's some settings. And if that's the case, if you could tell me what settings you want to see now, because let's assume that my gear cannot live stream. The camera that I'm running at the moment is the Sony A7, and I'm not sure the HDMI lets you do like a live view on it. I think that it's just for playback that it has the HDMI cable. So let's assume no, and tell me what you want to know if I can do on this. I might, I'm not sure, but I might be adding another overdrive or maybe a distortion or something else. I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think I can actually fit it on unless I use the space for the power brick, but the reason I'm rejigging it is so that I could fit that on. So I probably will not move that, and it's not angled either. I've actually put a pedal box underneath that. It's my ASMR. Whoops. So there's a pedal holding that up. And if you want to know what power supply this is actually, before I go, this is the Joyo one. I really want this on my board because it's the rechargeable one. It's kind of like vaguely isolated, I think, because the other one has a massive box and obviously the transformer is a lot bigger, so I'm not sure this is 100% isolated, and I'm not sure if it's even going to work, but hopefully it works and keeps all the interference to a minimum. But I'm going to go because it is hot and I'm sure my camera is overheating. So I will see you very shortly. I'm not sure what the next video will be, but stay tuned. Thanks for watching.